is Mania and part 3 of our series flying Carenado's Pilatus PC-12 in high definition. We are en route, if you're just joining us, from Denver, Colorado to Eagle County, Colorado, climbing up to 16,000 feet. So it's going to talk about the HRS system. That is a basically an upgraded version of the mechanical that's loud, 1,000 to go, of the mechanical gyros that have been favored in the past for the attitude indicator and the heading indicator, the DG, directional gyro, the attitude gyros. So basically it uses a fiber optic rate gyros, micro-mechanical accelerometers to provide a composite source of pitch and roll and heading information for the EFIS, the Electronic Flight Instrument System, which are these items right here. We have an electronic attitude director indicator, this one, and then we also have the electronic horizontal situational indicator, this one over here. So if we have a failure in the system somewhere, we can use our composite switches down here to direct the information. Say that maybe if this one failed, we can send that information up here. So there's some sort of fail-safe redundancy built into the system. We also do have our backup system over here. There's our 16,000. Great. We're leveled off. We have 22 miles to go to Zimmer, and all is well with the world. So anyway, the system is electronic over here, and then over here we have some backup gyros. I did read about a crash of a Pilatus PC-12 over, I believe it was en route from Teterboro to somewhere in Florida, and cruising at about 30,000 feet, got into some weather, had a failure of this system. Pilot lost control and crashed. So it's very important when things start going bad and you're in the clouds to make sure everything's where it's supposed to be. If it's not, you can also double check over here. Attitude, gyro, your HSI, and your altimeter. Just kind of back things up with the standby. So we are 18 miles, and so far a good flight. Just now getting into the Rockies. Everything's clear down here on the talls. Suppose we can zoom in here, get the reflection on that, and come over and look at the radar on this page. Don't see us painting any weather. Come back to the talls. So I like to keep it set up here if I'm flying in the mountains. About 40 nautical miles. We can zoom in as we get closer, but that's kind of nice to have when you're flying these approaches, just to sort of double check yourself. And as we go, I'm going to I have people ask me what I think about the airplane, what I think about this system or that system. I'll try to give you my impression. I frankly have not flown this airplane that much, so just whatever impressions I have are mine, but based on a very limited amount of flying hours in the aircraft. So I think Carenado does a great job with the visual model and textures. I do think that the GPS, the FSX standard GPS that comes equipped with the Carenado's version leaves a lot to be desired. And I'm happy to fly with just dual nav comms and use VORs and DMEs, and can navigate just as well with that. But frankly, like this nav here, the lower GPS, I'll just zoom in here and show you real quick. First of all, this is labeled VHF COM 2 when it's actually VHF COM 1 up here. If I wanted to tune this COM 2 frequency down here, I turn the large knob. Even though it's highlighted, it tunes the nav 2 frequency instead, and there's no way for me to tune this COM up here. You know, a minor inconvenience, but if you're using air traffic control, it's a major inconvenience. So anyway, yeah, I don't like this. I wish that, like the manufacturer, Carenado would give you opportunities or choices to upgrade, say, for example, the avionics package. Right now in the Pilatus 12 NG, they are offering the Honeywell Apex glass cockpit. I think that would be very, very nice addition, and be nice to have. But we fly with what we have, and what we have is very nice. And kind of reminds me a little bit of when you get a new iPhone or a new phone, you have to learn a lot of the features and what everything does. There's probably a lot of, actually I'm sure there's a lot of what am I trying to think of? The word I'm trying to think of is capability here that I may or may not necessarily be taken advantage of. You have to really get into the manuals, and that's probably the other maybe complaint that I've got, is that Carenado doesn't really give you much more than just some checklist and the very basic information, and probably be nice to have a little bit more than that. Maybe not on the same level as PMDG, but nevertheless give us a little bit more. I have to learn a lot of what I learn about the airplane just Googling and looking at online at trying to find out whatever information I can. So we are just about to cross over Zimmer, and when we do, we should see a turn. So let's zoom in here. So I'm showing us just pretty close to Zimmer intersection, and there the GPS is telling us 9 seconds away from a turn, and it'll probably flash a message that tell us to set our course, reset our course to 258, and the course is doing that automatically on the HSI. That's nice, automatic. And what we can do at this point now is go ahead and put in our GPS approach into Eagle County. So I'm going to do that. We'll hit our procedure, select approach, and we're going to want the RNAV GPS D. So let's see if I can get down there where that is, enter that. And we're going to fly from the Romeo Lima Golf VOR or TAC. We'll enter that, and we can go ahead and activate it at this point because we're flying direct to the VOR anyway. So come on there. All right, load or activate. So the click spots on here are just a little tricky. There we are. Now we can activate it. And let's go back to here. So our current leg is direct to Romeo Lima Golf, and I can see the approach all here. There's the holding pattern for the missed approach point. I'm sorry, it's not the missed approach point. It's the, what is it called actually? It's the, I guess I should get that approach plate out. The missed approach fix. So we are 30 miles away still from Romeo Lima Golf. and we may be too far out to hear the ATIS, but I'll go ahead and tune it in. Just check a couple of things here on our checklist. Yeah, one thing I did not do was I didn't give the passengers an opportunity to stretch their legs. I think I'll do that now. Give them just a few minutes of, in case they need to go to the bathroom. There is actually a toilet on this airplane. Pretty nice to have on long flights, since this airplane has a pretty good range. I think over 1,500 nautical miles. So the ATIS, back to the ATIS, let's tune that in, 135.575. So 135. .575. We may not hear it. We might still be too far out, but COM1, we'll unmute those for our approach. Yes, we did that. So we're not hearing the ATIS yet, but once we get a little closer, when it comes in, we will hear it, and that way we can see if we can find out what the wind's doing there in Eagle County. Might help us make a decision on which runway. They do have a tower. We should be right now talking to Denver Center on 128.65, and we'll just pretend like we are. It's pretty quiet on the frequency. I like that. And let's just look and see. We are 23 miles from the VOR, Kremling VOR, Romeo Lima Golf.
Kilo, Echo, Golf, Echo.
There's the ATIS.
Weather observation, 140, 6 Zulu. Wind calm.
Wind calm.
Visibility greater than 20 miles.
Good
Sky
visibility.
condition, 1,100. Scattered teal clouds at 12,000. Temperature 3 Celsius. Dew point -9 Celsius. Altimeter 3030. Kilo Echo Golf Echo. Automated weather observation 140, 6 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility greater than 20 miles. Sky condition 1,100. Scattered teal clouds at 12,000. Temperature 3 Celsius. Dew point -9 Celsius. Altimeter 3030.
So with the winds calm, we can choose which runway we want, and the visibility is clear. So I think we're going to go for the straight in on runway 25. It'll be quicker, and we will need to see the airport well before we get there, so that we can steepen up our descent below the minimum descent height that is on the approach plate of 8,900 feet. So we'll see how that goes. Still 17 miles away from the VOR, and once we get to the VOR, that's when we're going to start our descent into Eagle County from 16,000. So we'll just sit tight a few more minutes, and we're all set. We've got the approach set up in our GPS, and there is a VOR on the field. Just take a quick look here at Eagle County. I say it's on the field. There's a VOR and a localizer there, a snow VOR and the localizer. And when I first started looking at this flight, I did download some scenery. I've mentioned it already. I forget now off the top of my head whose it was, but before I downloaded it, I couldn't get the localizer tuned in, so I flew the GPS approach instead. And then once I downloaded the scenery, I did get the localizer. So I don't know, there's always some testing and trials to deal with Flight Simulator, and many times fly into an airport and I won't have all the facilities operational, so sometimes you just have to use what you have. So our ground speed's 200 knots, showing about an 8-knot headwind, which at 16,000 feet isn't too bad. So we're not breaking any speed records in this airplane, but it is capable of flying on up 30,000 feet ceiling, so we can definitely get higher if we need to, get over some weather. And it does fly slow, easy to get into some short fields. Very, very versatile airplane. Cabin class. Business class. Raise up the, there it is, raise up the little table. Leather. Armrest. Sweet. I think I'm going to go ahead and tune Eagle Tower in just for the heck of it. We'll see if there's any traffic that way in the pattern. So Eagle Tower frequency is 119.8. Let's go that way. There's 0.8. And just for the heck of it, I may go ahead and tune in on here the localizer frequency, which was 109.75. See, we're getting ready to get to the VOR there. 109.75. So we'll go ahead and put that in there. And I think I'll put up nav2, the identifier there. Let's see if we can pick it up. Be interesting to see. And since we've made our turn, I'm going to go ahead and set us down to 14,000 is where we want to go. We'll arm that and let's ease back our power. Start heading down. So our next fix is Kimball intersection, 12 miles away, and we want to be down at 14,000 when we get there, so I'm going to increase our rate of descent. And we're just going to keep our head down, keep our eye out on the terrain, and fly this approach. 10 miles from Kimbrell, descending at 1,000 feet per minute. Airspeed's about 160. Ground speed's 195. So it won't take us long to get there. Get rid of the message. Zoom in a little bit. There we go. So let's go ahead and have our passengers buckle up. And we'll go ahead and cut on the landing lights. Taxi lights, strobes are on. There's 1,000 to go. So we're going to put our gear down at the final approach fix, which is AWAC. The initial approach fix, Kimbrell. 7 miles away. Slow that descent up just a little bit. So we got 500 to go and 7 miles to get there. Starting to see some of the terrain come into view down here. 300 to go. Now let's look at our descent checklist. We've checked the ATIS, ice protection as required, power lever, desired torque, cabin pressure controller. We want to bring that down to 7,500. That would be 500 above our field elevation, which is actually 7,000. So let's bring it just a little bit further down. There's our 14,000. We're leveling off. 4 miles to go to Kimbrell. Go ahead and let the airspeed come on down. I'll add a little bit of power in here. We don't want to get too slow at this point. Our next altitude that we'll descend down to is 12,000, so we'll go ahead and set that in here. And we could do that when we get to Kimbrell in 2 miles. Ground speed's now down to 170 knots. And I'm really not showing any wind now. And there's Kimbrell. So let's go ahead and come on down. I hear a passenger's cell phone going off. So we want to come down to 12,000 feet. We have 7 miles to get there. Our next fix is powers. That is not our final approach fix. We're picking up a little bit of turbulence here in the descent. And starting to see more of the mountain ridges come into view. Five miles from Powers, descending through 13.2. I'm going to go ahead and increase that ready descent just a little bit. Ease off that power a little bit. Thousand to go. 4 miles. I don't want to come in low. I don't want to come in high. I want to come in just right. 3 miles to go, 700 feet in the descent. There's 1,500 feet. I'll ease that power back a little bit more so we don't pick up too much airspeed. 2 miles from Powers. 300 feet to go. And then our next intersection will be the final approach fix, AWAC at 11,100, leveling off at 12 with 1 mile to go. And beginning our turn to AWAC, so we'll go ahead and set the 11,000 and 100. It's armed, and let's get down there. Take me down, baby. We're only 4 miles from that final approach fix of 11.1. You see how we're threading the needle here. So our altimeter set 300 to go, 3 miles to go. Ice protection is required. External lights are on. We don't have any flaps yet. We're holding off on those. The inertial separator, we can leave that off. We have a hard surface. There's 11,001. We have 2 miles to go to get to AWAC. We'll go ahead and at this point, let's drop our gear. I'll add a little bit of power in here. Stay right about there at flap extension speed. In fact, we'll go ahead and get that first notch of flaps in. We're at 11.1 with 1 mile to go to AWACS. Airplane slowing up. Add some power. Keep it about 100. And 9,800. We might as well say 9,900. And we can go ahead and go. Let's get down there. There's 9,009. So there's a fix at 3 miles from the missed approach point. That's a step down fix. So 98.60 is the lowest we can go at that point. And you can see why if you look at this. And we're not going to have any trouble getting there. We're 3 miles away. Now 2 miles away from that fix. And then from there we can then go descend down to 8,900. So I think at that point we will go ahead and find our runway, and there it is. So we'll go ahead and cut off our autopilot, yaw damper, flight director, everything off, and let's push our nose over, pull our power back, and add in another notch of flaps. So there's runway 25. I do see some low clouds. Final landing check, gear down, flaps set, pressurization set, autopilot disengaged, yaw damper disengaged. Eagle County Tower, Pilatus 3486 with you on a 3 mile final, runway 25. Pilatus 3486, Eagle Tower, wind calm, clear to land, runway 25. Clear to land, runway 25, Pilatus 3486. Okay, great. Tower gave us landing clearance.
6244 taxi via Delta 5 Whiskey Bravo status frequency.
Look at that terrain. So if you can see the airport far enough out, easy to come in, but you can see we're at 7,800 feet here when the minimum descent is on the GPS approach is 8,900 feet. It's going to be very difficult to get down at a half a mile from the runway, which is about what we are now, from that down to field elevation. So I do feel like there is some wind coming off of the left side there, or either I'm just doing a lousy job flying the approach and give it some right rudder. 100 knots. We do have one more setting of flaps, 500. But actually I think I will go ahead and put those in. Yeah, there is some wind coming off the left side there. I'll trim our nose up. let it settle onto the runway. Power's all the way back here. Feel like we're floating a little bit.
The 1529 Denver Tower, CRJ 7 on short funnel with 14017 runway 16 right center line.
And let's get back on the center line. That flaps up.
The 1551 Denver Tower, your forward trail of an MD.
Okay, I've made better landings in this airplane. Like we floated a good bit. We'll chalk that up due to inexperience in this airplane. See if we can find a taxiway to get off of here. That looks kind of like one there. Should be a yellow line. There it is. That's what we want. Pilatus 3486. Taxi to the gate. Taxi to the gate. 3486. Thank you. So, clear the active. Go ahead and just stop and clean up here. Flaps all the way up. Get our landing lights off, leave our taxi light on, cut off our strobes, and bring this ground, the condition lever back into ground, right there, and we can taxi to the gate. Go ahead and tell you I've got some scenery conflict issues with this airport, so you may see some taxi signs out in the middle of the taxiway. Those things happen. So I've got a duplicate DGL file somewhere. I did a search for it, didn't find it. Doesn't really cause me any real major issues, so I just left it alone. Yeah, there's a taxiway Alpha 4. It's not even there. So we made it to Eagle County, and this is considered a very dangerous airport. I've been into much harder airports to land at. There's plenty of runway here, 9,000 feet. And we'll take the next taxiway. That was Charlie 2. This one we don't know what it is. These taxiway signs are definitely off. But I think we can skirt Alpha 3 here. Come in. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Eagle County Airport. Thank you for flying with FS Mania Airlines. And apologize for jerking you all over the airplane there at the end, but turbines are a little tough to taxi sometimes. And let's go ahead now and we'll set our passengers free, cut off that taxi light, and we can go ahead and start shutting down. Let's see if we get rid of the avionics, cut off our generators, and we'll cut off the nav light. And then let's come down here and shut off our condition lever to cut off. And you can watch the engine wind down. Here's the RPMs hit over here. Engine still spinning pretty fast at this point. So that's about it. We are here, Vail Valley, and beautiful Rocky Mountains of the United States, Colorado, and we had a good flight. I can hear some wind. We'll go ahead and open up our door. And we can shut off our battery. Shut off our beacon. Battery 2. And everything winds down. Okay, well, thanks for watching. That was a fun little flight, and we're gonna, in the next part, fly over to Aspen from here. That should be a challenge. It's only about 25 nautical miles, so it'll be fun to see how we can stay clear of all these mountains and get over there. Use this very versatile Swiss-made Pilatus PC-12. So thanks for watching, and have a good day. We'll see you on the next flight.